Ferrari SUV. See what's going on here. Look for the Ferrari SUV to arrive in 2022 with a starting price of around 350 G's. Sounds like Ferrari. Hi, Rosie. It's a shocking move for Ferrari, but you know, you gotta get the market what the market wants. And SUVs right now are super hot, so you have to give the market what they're looking for. I wonder what this is going to look like though. That's the question. And I think we're gonna have to explore today what the Ferrari Purosangue, I really like the name Purosangue, what it might look like. So let's jump into Photoshop, let's have some fun, and let's sketch a Ferrari SUV. Now, before we get into the Photoshop madness and craziness of this design, I want to show you, for myself too, just a quick idea of what it is we're looking for with this SUV sketch. So I want to have something very, like in between Porsche and Lamborghini style, surface styling. So Lamborghini has a very sharp, Rosie, hey, I don't know what's going on right now, but Rosie always jumps up here when when I start to record. Rosie, I'm sorry you can't be up here, friend. Come on, there you go. All right, so let's see what we can create here. First of all, let's start with a big gold ellipse like this. Put out the wheels, something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. Let's just put out some spokes in here. And the end point was going to be somewhere around there, I guess. And then we have an SUV, so that means that it's going to be having a bigger ride height than a normal car. Got to put that out. Let's just put out the baseline like that. Then I have an idea of what I want this rear end to look like. So round taillights like that. Let's create the rest of the body of the car here. More of a coupe style for this SUV. I think that's what they're gonna go with once they release this SUV. So we need to work on the graphics on the back here. So I want to have some structure around the rear, something like this, and then this part is going to go down like this. So that surface facing that way. Then I want to have a surface that's facing this way, because that's typical Ferrari. If you look at recent Ferraris, they have this surface that goes something like this. Gonna have to figure out how to connect this with the lights and everything else that goes on here. For the exhaust, I want quad exhaust, so let's put those out real quick, like that. And I can add some shading, and then I want a distinct shoulder line that goes something like that, and an X here. So I want this to be like an X in the middle here. And that means I want to add some sort of graphic down here as well. Something like that. We're gonna have to figure that one out later. Add the far side wheel. Right there. And for the diffuser, I want to have it go, so this part right here, I might want to have an air outlet right here. The bumper is going to be separate from the rear spoiler, so I want to have a diffuser down here as well. So I want the diffuser to go in between the exhaust like this. There we go. Probably all messed up in perspective, but that's totally fine. Not thinking about that right now. We're just thinking of the general graphical idea of what we want this car to look like. So something like that. And of course add the side mirror, otherwise the comments are gonna explode with where is the side mirror? You forgot it. You need to put that out. It's so essential for this sketch. So I'm doing that right there. And we need to have some cut lines for the door. So the door is obviously going to be a 4-door. So we're gonna have a section line that goes right in the smack in the middle of this. Right there, and then the front door goes somewhere around there. Might add some type of graphic down here as well, not sure yet. Gonna have to figure that one out. Let's transform this and make it a little bit lower. And a little bit skew. There we go. And from here, this is pretty much what I'm thinking of. And then of course we have the horse right up in here somewhere. Not sure what the horse looked like. It's too detailed to sketch in this scale, but you get the point. That's supposed to be the Ferrari horse there. It's easy to see. I mean, come on. I did it pretty well in 2 seconds, this little thing right there. And I want to have maybe, just maybe, we can add a light bar in the middle here. Not sure if that is going to suit the overall style of this SUV. If not, I'm just gonna turn it black and have it be one of these carbon fiber pieces that goes in between the rear, the taillights like this. Maybe have it be a little bit more integrated with the taillights themselves, so blend in like this. All of this we're gonna have to explore in Photoshop later, but the point here is I wanna have this line and this line right here. These are 2 essential lines that I really want in this sketch, and I have to figure out how to integrate that in the rest of this sketch. So from here we can add whatever we want. We can add some shading if we want to do that. Alright, so there we are. I think that's enough time spent on this initial sketch. I just wanted to show you the idea that I have with this Ferrari SUV and kind of what we're going for here graphically and how we're going to implement this into Photoshop. So now let's get into the real work and start to render this and see how that is going to turn out. Now, before we get into the sketching part, just make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. That way you get notified when new videos are uploaded every single week. Alright, so here we go. We have the Porsche Cayenne Turbo Coupe version right here, because I think when Ferrari is going to drop their SUV, it's going to be more of a coupe style, sporty design like the Urus, the Q8, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo. More towards that style than a typical boxy big SUV. That's just my guess. So we're gonna base it on the Porsche Cayenne Turbo Coupe, which we have right here. And on top here, I'm gonna keep these visible throughout the sketching part of this Ferrari here, because this is going to give me an idea of the Ferrari styling, the current styling that they're using, and give me some inspiration to just look up to every now and then and check where I'm going with the design. So take some design cues from each one of them probably, and just implement it in this rear view of the Ferrari SUV. So let's get going. I'm gonna jump in back in the video every now and then and discuss what's going on, let you know what I'm doing, how's everything going, what my thoughts are. Thoughts, I sounded like a New Yorker. What my thoughts are, damn. For now, I'm gonna get the proportions right. That will be the first step, so let's do that right now. Alright, so where are we at with this sketch so far? Well, I think it's going pretty well so far. There are a bit of issues that we need to address. The main one, to me, when I look at it, it looks too high. It looks like this part right here is sitting too high, and I want to bring it down somehow. Maybe one way is to bring this whole piece down a little bit, but I think that's not gonna work because it's an SUV and it needs to sit higher than on a regular car. So what we can do is to work on the graphics. I think one of the big reasons why it looks like it's sitting so high is because of these long vertical lines that we have here on each side. These help with building up the height graphically in the sketch. So maybe break them up somehow, not sure how yet. Maybe have something like this that breaks that up, and maybe we can have some graphic in this surface down here to bring the height down even more graphically. We did bring up this whole piece down here because these exhausts were all the way down here, and that would definitely look too weird to have on this Ferrari. I want to bring that up, and then we can also at the end of this, once we're done with the proportions of the rear, we can start adding details such as these diffusers down there if you want to do that. So that's where I'm at right now. I think it's going well. We just need to figure out and solve a few problems that we have here and then go in and work on the details. So we still have a lot to do, so let's just get in and keep working on this. Alright, so here's what we did, and I think it made such a huge difference. You remember when we were at this point right here? It looks empty, there's something missing here. We need to have something that breaks up these lines that we have going horizontally everywhere. We need some dynamic in there, and what we did was to just add these two parts right here. These two wings on the side, and these tiny details make such a huge difference in this design, and I think it looks so much better now. One thing I want to mention, when you do things like this, when you add graphics like this, you can't just throw on some lines on here randomly. It needs to flow, of course, with everything that's on the body of the car. The rest of the body needs to have, it all has to have a flow. So what you can see here, for example, this line right here, it goes down here and then it goes into the exhaust line down here, and then this whole thing wraps around, then it comes back here and goes back up and up there. And that's just one of these things that you think about when you're designing cars, and when you make redesigns like this, you know, you might not notice all of those small details, and if you miss these details, it's going to look like the car is made up of several cars, like the Corvette C8, for example. So what we're gonna do from here is to add more details to the lines. Right now the shading is very basic. I want to add some highlights and burn points and stuff like that to this car, and probably do something with this area down here. I want to change that. It's too boring for a Ferrari. Ferrari has a lot of emotion in its design. They really mix hard surfaces with soft lines in their cars, as you can see, especially in this car right here, the Portofino. Here is a sharp line, and then we have a long sweeping soft line right here, and then a sharp line that goes into a soft surface right here. So there is a lot of that going on in Ferrari, and I really love that kind of styling. I love it more than the 100% sharpness of Lamborghini, for example, and more than the softness of, for example, a Porsche Cayenne. So Ferrari is kind of in between Lambo and Porsche when it comes to styling with soft and hard surfaces, and that's what we're going to keep in this redesign. So let's continue now, and let's continue working on this until we're finished, and then when I'm done, I'm going to come back and give you a short summary of what actually went down in this sketch. So there it is, guys. This is my idea of what I think a Ferrari SUV could look like, looking at their current styling and try to implement that in an SUV format. It's not easy to do when we're used to seeing a car manufacturer creating specific cars, in this case sports cars, and then how to turn that into a completely new package and proportions such as an SUV. But I really think this turned out great. I love this design myself, and I did change the as I mentioned in the beginning, I wanted to have a light bar going in between the two lights, but it didn't really work out graphically. It just looked like something that was an afterthought that was just put in there for pretty much no reason at all. I couldn't figure out how to connect the light into the circular rear lights So what I did is I changed that, I removed that and put in a carbon fiber trim piece or bar that goes right in the middle of this chamfer edge, and I think that looks a lot better. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want the PSD file for this Ferrari SUV, sign up for my Patreon. You can download the full PSD file there of all my redesigns that I've made with the entire layer structure. So if you have Photoshop, you want to start doing this yourself, you can open that file up and you can check every single layer, what goes in them, because I save every layer for you to check out. And I also give you some exclusive content there on my Patreon. So if you're interested, check it out in the description below. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I'm TheSketchMonkey, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.